Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the discount. Today is Tuesday, March 14th, 2023, and we're going to get right into it here. A lot to discuss, a lot of charts to go over. From a macro perspective, as always, a lot going on. We did have a great short trade on the board today. Started off as a scalp, as they always do, and it actually ended up giving quite a trade for those traders that wanted to hang on to the rest of it. So, great track record so far today, guys. Again, I think we are at 86%, or actually, I'm sorry, 89% after today. We'll keep that rolling as always, only giving the best trade setups. So, Tuesday, March 14th, 2023, I'm posting at 7 a.m. and I'm giving you guys pretty much the synopsis for the day. Now, let's pay attention here right off the bat at 7:37 a.m. I'm saying we got SPY 388 approximately, which is the big daily trend line from this video, from all of the videos that you're going to see from me so far for probably the next few weeks or several months, depending how much they want to fight this thing. But again, above the Bulls have it, below the Bears have it, and we'll get into it right now. So let's go to the SPY daily chart. You have the big downsloping trend line, and then you have this head and shoulders pattern that has failed, or at least has failed so far. And if this keeps going and does not want to get above, and let me get my pen out here, but if it does not want to get above and continue to get above and recapture all this stuff and stay somewhat in this channel here, excuse my poor drawing, but that channel right there, um, this is not going to get satisfied for probably a little bit, right? You have the Fed pivot coming up, potentially, some type of pivot, whether it's a pause or a small rate hike or what have you. And if that is going to send the markets higher for a little bit before the next leg down, because we are most definitely in a severe recession by any stretch of the imagination, but that does not mean the markets, the stock market, and any market has to reflect that. So unemployment is still pretty low, and until that starts to happen, where perhaps June or July, the Fed pivots right now, saves the day, and perhaps June or July, unemployment is just significantly higher and things start to drop. Perhaps another bank failure that's pretty major, maybe across the sea in Europe, or another major corporation like a General Electric. Who knows? But that's kind of the way I'm looking at this if the Fed wants to save the day. However, that is just speculation. We're reading the charts, looking at what's going on. And as of right now, it's all about this trend line. Look at this daily trend line, right? The big daily downsloping trend line down to the 10-minute chart. This thing bounced off of it, again, dropped below, retested it, came back up, continues to fight it. And then today it gaps up. This was our short trade on the board today, starting at about 392.50, and the stop on 15-minute candle close was 393.16. It closed one 10-minute candle above. However, this is really where the trade was. If we go down to the minute chart, not the 1 second, that is way too short. But here's the 1 minute chart, and this is really where it gave you the scalp right here. And again, if you want to take the scalp off, which I did because this was into lunch and I don't feel like looking at this over lunch, I took the scalp off. But if you want to just take that half the position off and then just let it ride, and look, if it doesn't close candles above, well, look how much it just paid you out. All right, you could have waited and said, I think it's going to go retest this important downsloping trend line. Look at that. Came down, retested it to a penny right here, bounced back off, and once again, just respecting the hell out of this trend line. So really, guys, from a macro perspective, just pay attention to what the Fed is going to do. Pay attention to the XLF, and we're going to get into that in a second. gold and Bitcoin, I think, are telling us something as well. But this trend line, ultimately zooming out, is really going to be the telltale of the story moving forward. Now, again, the downside target from a short term perspective, this is bearish, and it's going to 365 in a hurry if it can't get out of here and start closing candles above and resuming uptrend, right? So, pretty easy, guys. I try to keep this pretty simple because it doesn't have to be any more complicated from a macro perspective. That's really all there is to it. Let's just stick to the charts, and that is where the truth lies. So, great stuff today for the trading room, guys. That's what we're trying to do. Just trying to make some extra income here and some simple day trade setups. And let's go back into the channel. So I had posted UAL, which is United Airlines, 43.85 and 43. And I had said, I don't know if you could see this. No, you can't. But I had said use 43 level as a stop on a 15-minute candle close. Now, what ended up happening? We got closer to the bell. I saw volatility and I came up with a better level. And I said there is a higher risk entry on UAL at 44.75. Let's go back into the UAL chart. Going back into the UAL chart, so it obviously did not hit that, but I want to give you guys kind of the range here because my range for a stop was 80 cents, and this thing was coming down fast. My stop was 80 cents. So what you could have done, and how I planned on doing this, was taking your full position, breaking it up into threes, or perhaps the smaller half on the first, the larger half here, and then the third larger half here to get about an average of 43.85. And if you're closing candles below 43, well, then it's telling a whole different story. And that is not going to happen 8 to 9 times out of 10 with this strategy. However, it does happen. But still, nonetheless, we take these shots. This is where you have to take your shots. It never got down there, but you could see where it bounced off was also a very important level. I just wanted lower because I'm stingy with price. So that's where it ended up bouncing off. Good enough for government work, not good enough for me. And we're going to get the next one. So anyway, just wanted to show you the one lazy day trade that almost hit its level so you could kind of see where I get these things from and why I look at volatility. Going into, again, the channel, so obviously calling out the SPY short, where it's wrong, and I just wanted to also show you from the beginning, I said above 388 approximately, we're bullish, and below we were bearish. Well, if you go back into, let's say, the 10-minute here, okay, it was opening and gapping above 388, and you could see, and I said in the let's go back to the channel here. I said here that watch the pre-market and see what happens with CPI here. Usually the first wrong move is, or the first move's the wrong move, which it was. I mean, it spiked down really fast, down to like, I don't know, 384 or so, and then just came right back up and started rallying. And I said they aren't falling apart. And if you pull up the ES or future SPY chart, they're looking like they could start rallying pretty hard. And guess what they did? They came down in pre-market at about 385-ish, and they just skyrocketed. So look, that's up to individual traders. If you want to take that ride, I'm giving you the synopsis or the scenario of what's going to happen. I'm not taking that trade personally. I'm just trying to give out the best trade setups to keep us in that win rate, to keep us mathematically compounding these wins over time. And over time, that becomes a serious business. So I want to also get into, let's take a look at the XLF here. So I had drawn this up just about an hour ago, just a simple fib retracement. And what you're seeing here is it's fighting this 382 fib retrace, but also this channel is pretty interesting. And how I want to view this here, guys, is take into consideration what the spiders are doing and that big trend line. And if spiders can't get above that trend line and start convincing people it's above that big trend line, this is what probably the XLF is going to do. All right, it's eating time off the clock to make probably a quick pit stop here. And then this is where, and that was a terrible drawing, but this is really where I'm seeing this. It's going to break this channel. Okay. Pit stop number one, pit stop number two, and pit stop number three. There's a gap right here, and it's right in the middle of this fib retrace, which markets tend to really like. And that comes right in at about 25. So if things get really ugly, that's the downside target for the XLF. If things get really ugly, we don't know that they will. And if, again, the Fed steps in and the SPY can hold that trend line, we're just going to see a resumption probably of this channel for the time being until, again, that's just my opinion, but that is my likely scenario as things just start to unravel over the next 6 to 12 months. However, again, we're just reading the technicals, trying to stay disciplined on the charts, and it's really respecting this channel and so far these fib levels. So pay attention to that on the XLF, GLD, and Bitcoin. So usually what I've noticed, there are these things, both Bitcoin and gold, and especially gold, obviously, just because it's the relic and it's stood the test of time, has really been telling you that if the Fed is going to step in, well, it's kind of telling you that it is. So if it comes back down, um, for long-term holds, I would certainly be interested in in a gold position. I mean, obviously, I was buying gold down here for swings and for investing purposes as well. But just going into it's probably going to be a pretty turbulent period. From a swing trade perspective, we'll see. I mean, I think that gold should retest. Oh, that's huge. I don't want that. Um, let's get rid of that. But gold should retest this area right here, which is the 100 and the 200. And you could do a backstop. I'll probably do a backstop of 160, and that is your screaming buy. So who knows? I mean, it's finding resistance here. It could fill some gaps. It could start just doing one of these and then off to the races. But again, you see how long this timeline is. Um, we just have to see what we're getting day to day. And what it's telling you right now is that the Fed is going to step in. That's just what it is right now. But again, remember, be careful with the sell the news, because Bitcoin kind of had a nasty little wick here. It wasn't, terrible, but it's definitely a sell. And what I want to show you on Bitcoin, and I know people are going to really hate me for this, but if it doesn't find some steam, and look, it's again just going to have to do with the S&P 500 and what the Fed is going to do. But the reason I like these futures charts is because they show these price gaps, and pretty much, I mean, 9 times or more, I mean, pretty much 9 times out of 10, these gaps get filled, and they coincide with really important zones of support and resistance. And this is really where Bitcoin is going to be headed if it does not get its shit together, or if the markets, actually, it's not even Bitcoin, if the markets don't get their shit together and start proving and proving to everyone that they're going higher with whatever the Fed is going to do. So again, this important trend line, or let me get rid of this here. You have, sorry about that. There we go. This kind of bullish uptrend, which, I said, look, they could come down, fill this gap, spike it, and then still resume up to, what could be, right, one of these. No problem. We could certainly do that. And if it can't, well, look, it already failed once. It already closed a couple candles down there, and you're gonna know pretty soon, if it can't fill this gap, that it's going down to these lower numbers. Now, What's the tradable opportunity for me? In my opinion, it's shorting this up here, at least for a few points. That is really going to be the trade. So, you know, I'd probably start building shorts somewhere in here just for a reaction, and maybe you can hold, um, a trailer for some more downside if there's more news coming out and it's looking to be that way. However, again, guys, I mean, I was buying down here for long-term holds, and honestly, like I would welcome the opportunity to come back down here um, and fill these gaps because honestly, and if you just kind of do one of these, let's get rid of this, and you start seeing what would happen in the event that this is really just a puke show and it's going to come down here, it's going to find resistance right here, right? And then it's going to come fill this gap. And that's really the next, area where you would expect some support, right? So that's it, guys. Today, really, we're growing this channel pretty nicely here. I'm really excited about it. I'm happy that I could show you guys how to day trade, or at least provide you with the setups that you can see for yourself. Because ultimately, I'd like you guys to see how you could do this for yourself, and maybe just use this as a tour guide. Okay, I see that level. I really like it too, and the track record is speaks for itself. So we got about 181 people in here now, and pretty exciting stuff. I'm not going anywhere. We're looking to grow this thing and keep the track record up, and of course the funny and inspiring memes to kick off the day. So thank you guys again. See you on the charts. Have a great night.